Students, in intermediate first year, that is in class 11, nearly 8 to 9 chapters you have which you will be learning about mechanics. Those all chapters are related with mechanics. So mechanics is a study of motion of bodies. Mechanics deals with motion of bodies. Whenever body is in motion, the terms related to that particular motion, we will be learning mechanics. So mechanics is a branch of physics which deals with motion of bodies. Under mechanics, you have different classifications because it is very vast syllabus. So under mechanics, we will be learning different things corresponds to different chapters. The beginning one is kinematics and dynamics, and of course statics. Static mean rest. Static mean rest. In Greek, static mean rest. So in statics, there will be not actual motion of the body, but internal particles of the body will be in motion. Say for example, you are dealing with a box in which there are few particles. Box is in rest position, but these particles can be in motion. Box is in rest position, but the particles can be in motion. So if you are dealing with those particles which are in motion, overall the body is in rest position, that comes under statics. And coming to kinematics, kinematics is that it is part of mechanics which deals with kinematics is part of mechanics. It is a part. In mechanics, this is a part which deals with motion of the bodies. But in this, we will not refer to external force. So this is without reference to external force. That means we will not bother about force. Without actually talking about the force, we will learn motion of the bodies. Actual cause of the motion itself is force, but we will not deal with force in kinematics. Whereas in dynamics, we will be dealing with both force and as well as motion. What is actual cause of the motion and what is actual cause of the motion and force? Both will be learned under dynamics. We will relate motion of the bodies with the external force in dynamics. So therefore, kinematics is part of mechanics which deals with motion of the bodies without reference to external force. Dynamics is part of the mechanics which deals with motion of bodies with the reference to external force. Here we will learn about force, which type of force is acting on the body and how it is moving. In kinematics, we will be learning only about motion without bothering any external force. In static, bodies will be in rest position. So in mechanics, you have these three different parts. In your intermediate syllabus, you have kinematics and as well as dynamics. These two things these two chapters we will be handling in your class 11th syllabus. Coming to kinematics, you have different parts which you can study. In kinematics, you will be learning about these all parts where in lesson 1, we will be dealing with motion in one dimension. Whereas in lesson 2, we will be handling with motion in two dimensions. Motion in one dimension stands with a body purely moving along positive x-axis So motion in one dimension and motion in two dimension. This is lesson 1. In lesson 1, we will be learning about motion in one dimension, and this is lesson 2. Motion in one dimension and motion in two dimension. These two chapters, these two lessons, we will be dealing in kinematics. So first, we will start with motion in one dimension. In motion in one dimension, you will be learning about pure horizontal motion, pure vertical motion. Pure horizontal motion means body is purely moving on the road. It is purely along x-axis, positive or negative x-axis. In vertical motion, body can either go up or body can fall freely. Body can either go up or body can fall freely. This is vertical motion. Again, in vertical motion, we have two categories. Body is going up or body is falling freely. So in motion in one dimension, you will be learning about this part. This is in lesson 1. And in lesson 2, you will have these different concepts: horizontal projection, projectile motion, and projection from top of the tower, and projection from inclined plane. So first we will start with motion in one dimension, and after that we will be learning about motion in two dimension. In middle we will be dealing with vectors. After learning vector quantities, we will move on to the motion in two dimensions. So first we will start with motion in one dimension, which is motion, which is also called as motion in straight line. In motion in straight line, we will learn about introduction of kinematics, and then we will learn about scalar quantities and vector quantities, and then we will define distance and displacement, speed and velocity, and then we will move on with acceleration. But today we will complete up to distance and displacement. In today's session, we will complete up to distance and displacement. Physical quantities based on direction. So physical quantities can be of different types. So based on the direction of physical quantities, you can classify physical quantities into two types. They are scalars and vectors. Scalar, there are few quantities which are scalars. There are few quantities which are called as vectors. So physical quantities based on the direction, they can be classified into two types. They are scalars and vectors. Scalar quantities are those quantities which has only magnitude, whereas in case of vector quantities, it has both magnitude and as well as direction. Physical quantities which has both magnitude and direction, they are called as vectors, whereas physical quantities which has both only magnitude, they are called as scalars. For example, let us take like when you go to market, you will be asking for 5 kg of sugar, right? When you want to buy sugar, you will be only mentioning 5 kg of sugar. This 5 kg, kg is unit and 5 is magnitude. We are not bothering about any direction. We are not mentioning direction in this physical quantity. So such quantities where we will be only describing magnitude, such quantities are called as scalar quantities. For an instance, if anyone asks you, where is your home? If anyone asks you, where is your home, then you will be mentioning direction, right? You will be mentioning direction. So first you should move on to the right side and then left side and then you should go straight. It will mention some direction. So such quantities which has both magnitude and as well as direction. Say for example, you have a block. This is a block. And this block is of 5 kg. You will apply force upon this block, say 5 Newton. You are acting a force of 5 Newton upon this block. As a result, this block will be moving in the direction of force. The block also move in the same direction as the top of force. Suppose if you are acting force upward, then block will be moving in upward direction. Depending on the direction of this particular force, the block will be moving. Therefore, you will be mentioning 5 Newton along positive x-axis or negative x-axis or east side, west, north, in particular direction. You will be mentioning direction to some quantities. So based on the direction of physical quantities, you have classification into two types, scalars and vectors. Scalar quantities are those quantities which has only magnitude. Vector quantities are those quantities which has both magnitude and as well as directions. There are few examples you need to see in this slide. You should answer these quantities whether they are scalars or whether they are vectors. Here are few physical quantities. First is quantity A, 5 meter. 5 meter is length, right? This is length. And is there any direction mentioned over here? No direction mentioned. There is no direction mentioned. If there is no direction mentioned, then obviously it should be a scalar quantity. It is a scalar quantity. Now coming to B, 30 meter per second. So 30 meter per second is unit of velocity. Is unit of velocity. And this is in which direction? It is mentioned east. So it has direction. So those physical quantities both has having both magnitude and direction, they are called as vector quantities. Now second quantity is a vector quantity. And coming to third one, here direction is mentioned to you. Direction is mentioned. As direction. So some quantities they may have direction, but you cannot call them as vectors because they does not obey vector laws. In this case, here like you can consider this as 5 minutes. So mi I am taking it as minute. This is time, right? Time will not have any direction. So even though here I am confusing you by giving some direction. Check the physical quantity. Physical quantity here is time. Time is a scalar. And coming to D, 20 degrees Celsius. This is temperature, right? Temperature has no direction. So temperature, of course, temperature is a scalar quantity. It has no direction, so therefore it is scalar. And next coming to 256 bytes. This is computer language, right? $20 bytes, 30 bytes, 100 bytes, 1 gigabyte, 1 terabyte, and like that. That is computer language. It is a storage capacity and fastness of that particular computer. It has no direction. One GB, 2 GB. Generally, you'll be telling that 1 GB, 2 GB, 1 GB RAM, 2 GB RAM. GB. B stands for byte. So it has no direction, therefore it is also a scalar quantity. And coming to last quantity, calorie. Calorie is unit of heat energy. Calorie is unit of heat energy, and it is directional. Heat is directional because heat always flow from high temperature to low temperature. Heat always flow from hot body to cold body. But you need to see one thing in case of few physical quantities. So those physical quantities which does not obey vector laws, physical quantities which does not obey vector laws, they are called as scalars itself. They should not be called as vectors. So heat does not obey vector laws. Triangle law, polygon law, parallelogram law. There are few vector laws that you will be learning in next coming chapters. So heat does not obey vector laws, therefore it is a scalar quantity. Even it has directional. Even it is directional, it is called as a scalar quantity because it does not obey vector laws. Right? So now you have got clear idea about scalar quantities and vector quantities. Scalar quantities has only magnitude. You will not bother about direction in case of scalar quantities. Vector quantities are those quantities which has both magnitude and direction, and it should obey vector laws. So remember that when you are calling it as a vector, remember that it should obey vector laws. Those quantities which obey vector laws, they are called as vectors. These are few differences between scalar quantities and vector quantities, which I have just now told you. Scalar quantity has only magnitude but no direction. Vector quantity has both magnitude and direction. Vector quantity has both magnitude and as well as direction. And coming to the second point, every scalar quantity is one-dimensional, and vector quantity, it can be one-dimensional, two-dimensional, or three-dimensional. And scalar quantity reflects change only in the magnitude. Vector quantity reflects change in magnitude and as well as direction, both. So when there is change in a vector quantity, it means that its direction change and as well as its magnitude also changes. Whereas in scalar quantity, it is not like that. And scalar quantity cannot be resolved, whereas vector quantity can be resolved. What is mean by resolution? Resolution mean, for example, you have a vector quantity and this is in particular direction. This is x-axis. It is y-axis. Now this vector a bar, say this is vector a bar. This vector a bar can be resolved into two components. One component along x-axis and another component along y-axis. Two components it can be resolved into. It is like this. This is magnitude of a along x-axis, and this is magnitude of a along y-axis. So same vector, this vector is resolved into two components along x-axis and as well as along y-axis. So about resolution, you will be learning in vectors. Scalar quantities cannot be resolved, whereas vector quantities, they can be resolved. And scalar quantities, mathematical operations like addition, subtraction, division, multiplication, all those mathematical operations can be done by simple algebraic rules in case of scalar quantities. Whereas vector quantities, here we will be only using vector laws. Normal mathematical operations cannot be done in case of vectors. You cannot add two vectors like how you add scalars. You should add vectors only which are in the same direction. So that is the reason why vector laws are quite different than that of scalars. Scalar quantities, simple examples are length, mass, energy, density, temperature, heat, current, etc. Whereas vector quantities, they are displacement, velocity, acceleration, force. All these quantities has magnitude and as well as direction. Right. So that is about differences between scalar quantities. In this slide, we are going to learn about basic terms of kinematics, distance and displacement. What is meant by distance and what is meant by displacement, we are going to discuss in this particular slide. Of course, about distance and displacement, you might have learned in your lower sections only. From 8th class, you will be familiar with these terms. Even then, once again, I am going to explain it. Let us consider A, which is initial position of the particle. Let us consider this is initial position. And here is position B. I name it as final position. Now position A to position B, you can travel in different ways. Now in this reading, this is considered as path 1. And let me take this as 20 meter. So when you are traveling in this way in the path of red line, how much length you are traveling? It is 20 meter nearly. Not only in this length, you can travel from position A to position B in other way also. You can travel from here to here, and this is another path 2. Let me take this as 30 meter. You can travel in that way also. You can travel from A to B. There is no restriction to travel from A to B. There is no particular rule that you should come from A to B only in one particular path. There are many paths possible in case of traveling from A to B. Like you can come even like this also. From A to B, you can travel this way. I'm sorry. You can travel from here like this. You are coming from A to B. This is path 3. And this can be 15 meter. So in 3 different paths, you are traveling in different ways, and the length of the path in each case is different, right? In path 1, you are traveling 20 meter, path 2, you are traveling 30 meter, path 3, you are traveling 15 meter. There is no restriction along the path. So from A to B, as many number of ways you can travel, that particular length traveled. So length of path traveled is called as distance. So distance, it is a scalar quantity because there is no specific direction for case of distance. There is no particular direction. See, in case of this red line, this is one direction, this is another direction, this is another direction, this is another direction, this is another direction. Direction is continuously changing. So you cannot exactly mention in one particular direction. So therefore, length of the path does not have any direction. Such quantities are called as scalar quantity. So distance is a scalar quantity. It is total length of the path traveled. Length of the path can be 10 meter, 20 meter, 100 meter, any value it can be. In any way you can travel. Right? So distance is length of the path traveled by the body. Coming to the next one option we have, starting from A to B, there is only one shortest length. This is the shortest length, right? Between A and B, there is only one shortest path. Apart of that, there is no shortest path, and that is a straight line path, right? straight line path. So this straight line path, there is only one way which you can travel from position A to B, which is the shortest. That is called as displacement. Hence, shortest path is always directional. Say for example, if B is here, from A to B there is only one shortest path, that is straight line, and it is directional. Only in one particular direction it is going from A to B. Suppose if B is here, you can travel from A to B in only one particular direction in the shortest path. Suppose B is here, you can travel from A to B only in one particular direction like this. Therefore, if you have two different positions, you can travel from one position to another position in only one shortest way. The shortest length is nothing but called as displacement. As it is always directional, displacement is a vector quantity, whereas distance is a scalar quantity. Right? That is the difference between distance and displacement. In this slide, we will be having clear-cut definition, clear-cut understanding of distance and displacement by solving these simple problems. Now, in this illustration, you should calculate distance and displacement between A and B. From position A to position B, the body is traveling. You need to now calculate what is its distance traveled and what is displacement. Now, in the first figure, body is going, this is one way it can travel, and this is another way it can travel. From position A to position B, the distance traveled, it can be, see, length from here to here it is given as 3 meter, length from here to here it is given as 6 meter. Obviously this also will be 3 meter. Now this is length path. This is length path. So length of the path traveled is distance. This is 3 meter plus 6 meter plus 3 meter. This is equal to 12 meter. The distance traveled will be 12 meter and it has no specific direction from A to B. Coming from A to B, there is only one shortest path between A and B, that is displacement. So displacement denoted with S bar. Because it is vector quantity, it should be represented with arrow mark on its head. From A to B, displacement is equal to 6 meter, and this is along positive x-axis, or you can simply write it as east. You should mention its direction. So displacement is a vector quantity, and that vector should be represented with arrow mark on its head. Whereas in case of distance, it should be represented with S, and there is no arrow mark on its head because it is a scalar quantity. This is scalar and this is vector. Now coming to next problem, we have positions of A and B. Body can start from here and it is going towards B in this particular path, starting from A to B. Now coming from A to B, distance traveled can be calculated as S is equal to, this is A, P, Q. So total distance traveled can be AP plus PQ plus QB. Total length will be 3 plus 3 meter. This is equal to 9 meter. So total length traveled is equal to 9 meter. Whereas in case of displacement, it is different. Displacement is the shortest length between initial to final position. So in order to calculate displacement from A to B, you should mark a straight line like this. I'm sorry. You should mark a straight line coming from position A to position B. Now let me take, this is midpoint. This is midpoint. It can come from here to here and AB. So straight line along this path AOB. displacement S bar is equal to AOB. Now, in order to calculate that, see this length is 3 meter. What about this length? It is 1.5. And what about this length? It is also 1.5. So total displacement covered is, first you should find out displacement S bar is equal to AEO plus OQB. Now displacement is equal to, you can use you can use Pythagoras theorem over here. So that gives you under root 3 square plus 1.5 whole square plus same QOB also gives you the same value. It is 1.5 whole square plus 3 square. This is equal to 3 square is 9 and the 1.5 whole square is 2.25. 15 15 is 225, right? So it is 2.25 under root plus under root same value 9 plus 2.25. This is equal to 2 times under root 11.25, and this is meter. This is the total displacement covered from A to